Okay, you all, listen. When we ended last week, we were at the door like this. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for If Loving You Is Wrong. This is season 5, episode 3. As I said, we were stuck at the door in a nighttime soap opera when we ended last week. And boom, Lucian sees that old Alex and Ian are getting it in. See, I thought that Brad, well, we all thought that Brad was going to see it too, but Brad didn't see it. Lucian lured Brad away from the house because, baby, he was tearing her little box up on them steps. Okay? On the steps. So today they came out the kitchen and went on in there on the steps, getting it in. So Lucian lured him away, went across the street, got him, told him, go ahead on over in the house, blah, blah, blah. He goes on in his house. Now, he got to go 12 rounds with Natalie. And, of course, in Tyler Perry fashion, it took us 20 minutes for him to basically tell her, yeah, it is over there getting it in, but we going to mind our business. We're minding our business. We leave it alone. Then he ends up telling her later in the program that he wanted her to quit work, be a housewife, and have another baby. She's like, wait a minute. We got all these kids, and we got justice. He's like, listen, that's what I want. I said, listen, y'all got the money. Just, girl, go on home and have a baby. Ain't no thing. And she said, I'll think about it. So I just laughed. But in her mind, I like Natalie, but Natalie is a judgmental bitch. Oh, and she was like, sleeping with that man. I said, girl, we ain't heard the last of that. Trust me. Natalie ain't gonna be able to hold that. Natalie can't hold water in a cup. She's gonna let Alex have it at some point. She is. Anyway, so Eddie is in the cell. He done finally started to sober up and whatnot. He's over there in the cell. Him and this inmate gets into it. It's a black guy. Child, he's saying all these racially charged comments. Child, the inmate just whooped his ass. I don't even know no nicer way to say it, baby. He whooped his ass, honey. Was tearing his little ribs and things up, honey. And Eddie had his little self. Baby, Eddie's body is everything. I said, oh, Eddie. Baby, Eddie's body is snatched. You hear me? But, baby, he was whooping him down, honey. He was tearing him up. I said, girl, your little toga sheet wrap, honey, didn't fall loose, honey, but he whooped your ass real good, honey. I was like, okay. Child, Kelly and him, after that, because they come and get that inmate out of there, Kelly and him get to going back and forth. She told him something bad is going to happen to you from the person that you least expected from, which was true. He didn't even realize that a little bit after that, here comes Esperanza, and she served him, honey. She served him papers and, to stay away from her and about custody and all this here. And he told her, I'm going to kill you, bitch. I said, oh, my. And, of course, old boy, he said, yeah, I heard it. Now, this is the thing. They say they want to get him, Stephen. Stephen said, yeah, I heard him. You heard him threatened to kill her from a jail cell. There's already all this question about him and his shady behavior, but nobody reports it. Make it make sense. Come on, Tyler, stop playing. Anyway, moving on. Marcy and Brad are over there at the house going through their whole thing. She tells him, I think we need to get tested, both of us. And you need to take her back to court. And it just don't make no sense because she's taking half your paycheck and she's just out doing whatever. It don't make no sense. We got all the proof here. It's in her computer. She run around screwing every Tom, Dick, Harry, and Joe, and Ian. Okay. Then the baby got to crying. She goes up, gets the baby, and then she got all in her feelings and everything. And I'm like, she just running all over this girl's house like she just supposed to be up in there. I said, Marcy, you doing a lot, honey. You doing a lot. But she was, looking at the baby, and that just gears her up because again, they think that the baby belongs to Marcy's husband. So she's all in her feelings, and I'm like, oh, this is just too messy. Too messy. Let's go on down to the bar. Old Pat, nurse, and Officer Rick is down there to the bar, and he's trying to get information from her, and they done got a little hide up, and child, it was this whole long conversation, and she's like, "You were going to really sleep with me to get the information about Kelly." She's like, "I don't like her, but I don't think what's going on with her is right. She got the stuff, the information, and she actually got it notarized and got an affidavit and all that stuff. Got it together." She said, "I don't think it's right, you know." And he's like, "Yeah, I would, I'd have took one for the team." So tell me, Tyler, how we went from that to they ended up dancing because he was all happy after she gave the information. They start dancing and stuff. He told her she was sexy or whatever. And then we see him waking up in the morning at her house. He on her couch with his clothes all off, sleep. And she's trying to figure out if him and her actually had sex because she can't remember. I said, "Well, girl, if that's the case, then you wasted your time." I didn't get that whole scene. And she said, "Well, I'm figuring no, we didn't do nothing." He's like, "No, we didn't do nothing, or whatever." That whole scene was off. It was weird. I think it was. I'm just gonna say it. It was just a reason to get us a half naked view of Rick. That's all it was about. That's truly what that scene was about. It was a eye candy scene. That's all it was, and it was stupid, and it didn't even make sense because they live close to each other. Like he had said when they were at the bar that they could actually walk home, so he had no reason to stay over at her house on her couch without no clothes on, other than that Tyler wanted us to see him without no clothes on. Now I ain't complaining. Come on, Rick. Come on, Rick. But yeah, and then this whole thing about she don't know whether or not he was banging on her or not, girl, you would have knew. You would have knew. You'd have been either mad or you'd have been real, real glad, honey. But you would have knew. Or you should have. Or, child, what kind of slut are you? It didn't make no sense. Anyway, moving on. Moving on. Esperanza talked to Kelly while she was down at the jail, too. He kept telling her, "Girl, shut up. Talking while you in there." And I thought that myself. I said, she's doing a whole lot of talking with Eddie, like right in the cell next to her. That gonna come back and bite you in your ass at some point. It will. It truly will. Then we had another weird scene with Larry and his wife. His wife come home. He's still laying up in the middle of the living room with the little guy and everything. And then she was telling him something about Allison told her, Allison is who she was off having a tryst with, told him something about the church and that there's some shady dealings that be going on down to the church and he need to look into it. I said, okay, you dropping Easter eggs for what? For what? Anyway, then later we see Larry talking to Randall, and they have this whole conversation about the hard drive that's attached to his cameras. And he wants to know, they need to get into the hard drive to figure out who actually tore up the house. Not who tore it up. He thinks he knows who tore it up, but they need to get in there to have the proof to actually do the lawsuit because he's trying to get Brad, but he don't know it's the guy across the street. Then it's this whole thing where he's like, "Where are your cameras hidden?" And he's like, "Well, when you go, it's a forensic person that's going to look at this. They're going to see everything. So is there anything you don't want people to see on there?" He's like, "I'll just get somebody else to do it." Tyler, too much. Too much. Because there's all kind of shit on there. Too much. Said all his stuff is on there. I said, this is you know the I ain't gonna go there. But it all it is the huge fast right around what is real to try to maneuver us into believing that you write with sense. Stupid. Anyway, last thing that we see is old Alex waking up over at Ian's, laying all up on the counter. They laying up there on the counter in the kitchen. I said, y'all never have the party over his house to eat a thing, honey. But I have forgot down there as like she don't know where she's at, how she got there, or any of that. You drugged me and you raped me. I said, typical coming from where you come from. Typical. And that's where we left off at. You drugged me and you raped me. Get out of my face, Alex. And Tyler. Get out of my face.